Hello! Today I will be reading to you my Final Humanities course essay, which I just finished writing this afternoon and gave it in right on time on the watch. Uh, it's comparing Death Note to Buddhism. We pretty much had to choose a work of fiction and kind of judge it by like the Gautama the Buddha's standards. And I thought Death Note would be appropriate. While writing the essay, I found that Death Note was very, very appropriate. And well, I'll just read to you and maybe talk about it a little to tell you why. I haven't been making a lot of videos because it's the end of semester, and I've just been having less and less time. I wanted to make videos, but whatever. So here it is. Alright, the title is No More Than Nothingness Does Death Have to Give. Death Note by Sugumi Oba, one of Japan's intriguing cult hits gone Asian blockbuster film, tells the story of a prodigious young student by the name of Light, top in the country, who receives the dropped Death Note, a notebook used by Shinigami, Grim Reapers or Death Gods, to kill the living, and his grand attempt to tame the world and bring about a land of peace and prosperity through the death of those who impede it. It is said earlier on in the series by the student's father, the one in charge of the government's official investigation of the mysterious mass murderer known only as Kira, who deals out heart attacks to the criminal world, that, I quote, "Kira is evil, there's no denying that, but lately I've been starting to think of it more like this. The real evil is the power to kill people. Someone who finds himself with that power is cursed. No matter how you use it, anything obtained by killing people can never bring true happiness." L, the elite detective helping them with the investigation, adds, "You're absolutely right, Yagami-san. If Kira is an ordinary human being who somehow gained this power, he's a very unfortunate person." Oba, Volume 3, page 124 to 125. After that, when Light is by himself, he speaks to the Shinigami that haunts him. "Ryuk," he starts. "I've never once considered finding that notebook and gaining this power of misfortune. In fact, it's made me happier than I've ever been, and I'm going to create a perfect world." "I couldn't care less whether finding the notebooks made you happy or unhappy, but..." The Shinigami, Ryuk, looks down on Light with a growing smirk filled with dark entertainment. "As a rule, they say humans haunted by Shinigami have nothing but misfortune." Evading his gaze, Light turns away to walk home. "So you'll get to see what the exception to the rule is like, Ryuk." Oba, Volume 3, page 128 to 129. I find the parts of the series when Kira is judged in the presence of Light to all have a visual cue tying them together. Light is always shown facing away, averting his eyes. He is retreating in a way. Deep down, he is struck by those judgments, but in the end he can never accept them because he's special. He's going to be the exception. That is what he thinks. So here I find two issues to take up, and I think that Gautama the Buddha would do so as well. That, for one, suffering only begets suffering, and two, the presence of Light's blindness due to selfish attachment. The first is powerfully expressed in Light's father's quote. As I mentioned before, at face value, it expresses an idealism more powerful than that of Light's, as Light admits that killing is wrong, but that someone must dirty themselves in order to save the rest. Otherwise, people like Light's father will be taken advantage of and will be shown to be nothing but a fool, like he says in the last volume. His father says that it is all wrong. However, Light only understands it up to that point, that superficial point. He refutes that it can't bring true happiness by saying to himself that he is happy, and he's making a real difference, as the crime rate is shown to be dropping. But to go a step deeper and to look at all of the connotations of the quote would be to reveal a broader view of Light's actions. Whatever righteous intentions or ends Light may have, he has resorted to violence, killing, to accomplish his goal. The problem with this is that, like a liar must continually lie in order to cover his past lies, Light must both deceive, manipulate, and kill innocent people in order to protect his anonymity before the Kira investigation team and the rest of the world. Also, the world that light builds is not one of happiness, but one more of paranoia, oppression, and fanaticism, as we see this whole cure support thing escalating later on in the series, and is actually presented to us by Oba in Volume 13, How to Read, page 202 to 203. Light is living in a dreamy bubble where he is incapable of properly seeing and evaluating the repercussions of his actions. This blindness is caused by his holier-than-thou attitude. He sees the evils of the world correctly, but he has separated himself from it, perhaps as a development of his excellence in everything he does, whether it be academics, sports, society, etc. He looks down on the world as a whole and says that it is rotten, Oba, Volume 1, page 5, and makes its evil something personal. Again, he admits that evil actions only cause the suffering that will fuel further evils, just like in Buddhism, but his solution is to eliminate those that have already been corrupted so that it can no longer spread. Oba, Volume 12, page 133. Like many of those who seek harsh retribution, whether in a personal vendetta or at war, Light seeks to end violence with violence. They wish simply to stamp down evil by force, which is really only a temporary solution, for as soon as the shadow of death is gone, people will return to acting as usual, like is shown after the end of the series in Volume 12, which isn't in the anime. By the way, read the end of the manga if you've only seen the anime. In my opinion, it's better. If one truly wants to eradicate evil, they must go to the root of things. But Light does believe that he is doing this, as is demonstrated in this following quote. There are too many rotten people, so we must get rid of them. Humans have the right to pursue happiness and be happy, but because of a handful of rotten people, that right is easily snuffed. This is no accident. It is inevitable as long as those rotten people are alive. From the moment I got hold of that notebook, no, even before that, the world has fallen as far as it could fall, and humans had rotten as much as they could rot. It all boils down to those who interfere with people's pursuit of happiness, or those who did not. Those who are worthy of living and those who are not. Evil only gives birth to evil, and if those wicked people commit sins and run wild, then the weak will learn to commit crimes, and even try to justify their actions in the end. The evil, the rotten people, must be done away with. Oba, Volume 12, page 132 to 133. The ego that this way of thinking may express is first betrayed through the motivation for his mission, and then finally by his own words. I was bored. Okay. Next up. Even a fool is going to notice that somebody's bumping off the bad guys. I'm going to make the world know that I'm here, that somebody's passing righteous judgment on them, and then nobody will commit crimes anymore. The world will start to become a better place. And while people who obviously deserve to be punished are dying of heart attacks, I'll gradually be killing off immoral people and people who harass others through illness and accidents. Even that will eventually be noticed by the idiot masses. Yeah, very flattering for us. They'll realize they'll die if they don't change their ways. I'll make this a world inhabited only by people I decide are good. The Shinigami chuckles. You do something like that, the only one left will be with a bad personality will be you. What are you talking about, Ryuk? I'm a serious, straight-A student, a model teenager, and I will reign over a new world. Oba, Volume 1, page 29, 47 to 49. Does anyone else smell a budding fascist? This pretty much says it all as regards to his ego, and how that ego can prevent him from really seeing what he's doing. Notice the jab by Ryuk, and how it is loftily dismissed by Light, that he is somehow too well accomplished to be considered immoral. Through Light's own attitude of being better than others, of saying that the problem is those people that aren't as good as I, he fails to see what the true root of evil and suffering is. Appropriately enough, that source is the same selfish ego that he possesses, as well as according to Buddhism, of course. So this is selfishness, which the Buddha identified as, quote, the cause of suffering. E.S. Warren, page 153, that's in the Dhammapada, is behind Light's view of the world, how evil works, and how it should be stamped out. It influences and is also behind his condescendence